Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to March Madness, but with football clubs. 68 of the best clubs in world football competing against each other in a single elimination tournament. Just like actual March Madness, teams who are atop their league will automatically qualify for the tournament, and the remaining teams will be decided via a selection show. We'll then play out every match on FC24 so we can track the biggest upset wins, find our Cinderella teams, and see who makes the Final Four in our first ever version of Football March Madness. And let's get things started with the selection show. We're going to be filling out this bracket, 4 separate regions, seeding teams 1 through 16. And let's start with our top 4 number 1 overall seeds. We start with the number 1 overall seed, Bayer Leverkusen, followed by Real Madrid, Inter Milan, and Manchester City. Very excited to introduce my European audience to what March Madness is all about. Let's go. So back over to our selection show where Bayer Leverkusen will be taking on the winner of our first play-in game between Mumbai City, the current top team in India, and Ulm, the current top team in the 3rd tier of German football. Moving on down, the 8th seed in the East region is the current top team in the Argentinian League, River Plate. They'll be facing off against Celtic, the current best team in Scotland. Moving on down to the 5 seed, Tottenham Hotspur, the first team we've seen so far who have not won their league, who have qualified for the tournament. They'll be taking on the best team in Switzerland, Young Boys. And then on down to the top team in the Portuguese League, Sporting, who have earned the 4 seed. They'll take on the top team from Sweden, Malmo. First half of the East region is complete. Let's move on down to the bottom half, where we'll start with the 16 Feyenoord. They'll be taking on the winner of the Belgian League, the 11 seed Union Saint-Gilloise. Down to the 3 seed, our first La Liga team of the tournament, Barcelona, qualifies, and they'll be taking on the winner of the Chinese League. On down to the 7 seed, Aston Villa make it in, and they're going to be taking on Messi in Inter Miami. We end the East region with Bayern Munich, who are going to be taking on the winner of the French 2nd division. And with that, our East region is filled. If I had to take a guess here and predict some matches, I like Spurs to potentially make a run as a 5 seed, and I'm putting both Bayer Leverkusen and Bayern Munich on upset watch. As we're playing the entire tournament this video, I'm gonna leave a link to the bracket in the description. If you guys want to fill the bracket out and follow along to see if your predictions come true, yeah, links in the description. And let's move down to the West region with our next number 1 seed, Manchester City. They'll be taking on the 16 seed Parma. Next up, we have our 8 seed Roma. They make it as an at-large bid, and they will be taking on Sparta Praha. Down to the 5 versus 12 matchup, we have a Porto of the Portuguese League taking on the top team in South Korea, Ulsan. And we move down to the 4 seed RB Leipzig. They're taking on the top team in Denmark, Midtjylland. I feel like Manchester City got a bit of an easy draw here. They should be able to sweep this easily, but it's March Madness, and you never know. Upsets are bound to happen. Also, for anyone who's wondering how these teams were picked, it was all done by a secret committee whose names I cannot reveal. So if your team ends up missing out, blame them, not me. On to the bottom half of the West region, Al Hilal qualify as the top team in the Saudi League, and they'll play the winner of our second play-in game between West Ham and Rangers. For those who are unaware of what the play-in games are, 2 of them are between 16 seeds who are considered the 4 worst clubs in the tournament, and then the other 2 play-in games are against 11 seeds who are considered the last 4 teams who made it into the tournament. Yes, West Ham and Rangers were 2 of the 4 last teams who qualified without winning their league. On down to the 3 seed, we have AC Milan, and they'll be taking on the top Irish team, Shamrock Rovers. The 7 seeds RB Salzburg, the top team out of Austria, and the 10 seed is Real Sociedad, who qualify out of La Liga. And we end the West region. It is PSG, the best team in Liga 1, against the top team in the 2nd league of Germany, St. Pauli. Here's how the entire West region is shaping up. If I had to pick one game that I think could result in an upset, I would pick the winner of Rangers versus West Ham to beat Al Hilal. I'd also love to see the South Korean team Ulsan make a run. We'll see if that happens. Right on to the top right quadrant of the bracket. This is the Midwest region, and I already know we're gonna have a million questions in the comments, some of them being like, why is it the East region if this country's in the western half of the world? If you guys who know March Madness could help out all the confused people in the comments, that'd be amazing. All right, we start with the number 1 seed in the Midwest region. It is Inter Milan. They're going to be taking on the 16th seed Portsmouth, the top team in English Football League 1. On down to the 8 versus 9 matchup, we have Athletic Bilbao against Atalanta. Juventus is going to make the tournament. They will be facing the top Ukrainian team, Shakhtar. We got Atletico Madrid facing off against the top Norwegian team, FC FK Bodo. And on down to the bottom half of the Midwest region, we have Galatasaray as a 6th seed. They're taking on the winner of our second 11th seed play-in game between Chelsea and Brest, which, yes, that means Chelsea was one of the last 4 teams that made it in the tournament. Moving on down, we got the 3 seed Dortmund. They're going to be taking on the winner of Spain's 2nd division. And also, this is important to note because I feel like people are going to be confused. These league winners, I'm saying, are the teams who are currently top of their league as of March 17th, 2024. And then for leagues who have just begun and have maybe only played like 5-6 games or so, we took the winner of the league last season. So I know a lot of people will be confused on that. Hopefully that clears things up. On to the 7th seed Bologna. They'll be taking on Manchester United, the 10 seed. And ending the Midwest region, the 2 seed Liverpool taking on the winner of the Polish league. My predictions for this bracket, I'm super interested to see if Chelsea can end up making a run as an 11 seed. And also looking forward to a potential 2nd round matchup between Liverpool and Manchester United if that happens. On to our final region of the selection show, the South region, where we have the final number 1 seed Real Madrid. They're going to be taking on either Wellington Phoenix or Mansfield Town. On down to the 8-9 matchup, we have Al Nassr taking on Napoli, where if Al Nassr and Real Madrid both win, we will see Ronaldo play his former club. On down to Stuttgart, the 5 seed against Athens, the winner of the Greek league. And then we got the 4 seed Benfica taking on the 13 seed Leeds United, the top team in the championship. And on to the bottom half of the South region, Girona have qualified. They're taking on Slavia Prague. Then up next, the 3 seed PSV taking on the 14th seed FC Cincinnati. There's a lot of debate on this one in MLS. Cincinnati qualifies as the top MLS team. Since MLS just began this year, Cincy was the top team from last season, and although they didn't win MLS Cup, they were the top team in league play, which is how we're taking the rest of the teams. On down into the 7th seed Fenerbahce. They're taking on the 10 seed Brighton. And the final 2 teams, Arsenal as a 2 seed taking on the top team in Romania. And here's the first look at the entire completed bracket. We're not going to play all these games out on FC24, but first, as always, these were the last 4 teams that qualified without winning their league: Chelsea, West Ham, Brest, and Rangers. The tournament will begin with these matchups to see which ones actually make it in. Let's give a massive RIP to the first 4 teams out: Newcastle, Monaco, Frankfurt, and Fiorentina. These were teams that were just on the bubble and barely missed out on making it in. Let's begin Football March Madness with the play-in games and the round of 64 matchups. In our very first game of the tournament, Ulm takes down Mumbai City with an 88th minute game winner. Sorry to all my Indian viewers, your team is the first one eliminated in the video. Right, up next, Rangers loses to West Ham United. Chelsea sneak by Brest with an 88th minute game winner from Kukureya. The Aussie side, Wellington Phoenix wins in extra time. Playing games complete, on into the East region, whereas Leverkusen winning 3-1 pretty handedly over their fellow German side, Ulm. Celtic go on to take down River Plate. Leverkusen versus Celtic will be our first round of 32 matchup, but we're going to get through the entire round of 64 first. Up next, we got the 5 seed Spurs taking down the 12 seed Young Boys Sun with 2 goals. And Sporting takes down Malmo with an 88th minute game winner. Here we go, our first big upset win of the tournament. Union Saint-Gilloise beats Feyenoord on pens. Sadly, not looking good for them. They got to take Barcelona, who nearly lost to Shanghai Port FC. And this next matchup, Messi and Inter Miami fell to Aston Villa on penalties. And Bayern Munich handled the 2nd division French side pretty handedly. Round of 32 complete in the East region. We had one big upset win. The rest pretty easily. Celtic was an upset over River Plate, but 8 versus 9 matchups can usually go either way. We talk about Inter Miami and Messi real quick. They snuck into the tournament. Maybe they didn't deserve to make it, but they were given a shot and they immediately disappointed everyone. Moving on down to the West region up next. Right, this one could have been very bad for Manchester City. They sneaked past Parma in extra time. For those not familiar, a 16 seed has only ever beaten a 1 seed in college basketball twice in history. Right, we got 8 seed Roma taking down the 9 seed. They're going to be going on to face Manchester City. Porto takes down the South Korean side Ulsan. And here we go, boys, our biggest upset of the video so far. 4 seed Leipzig loses to 13 seed Midtjylland. They'll face Porto in the round of 32. Midtjylland, I hope I'm saying your guys' name right. Right, West Ham, who won their playing game, takes down Al Hilal in extra time. It's not a great look for the Saudi League team. We'll see if Al Nazar can do better. And we got AC Milan, who took down Shamrock Rovers in a very close match. And we end the bracket with Real Sociedad beating RB Leipzig and a PSG over FC St. Paul. A few big upsets in this group right here. The 13 seed wins, the 11 seed wins, and the 10 seed wins. I feel like Midtjylland has an actual chance of beating Porto, but I don't know if West Ham's going to be able to take down AC Milan. That's going to be tough. On the other hand, Man City versus Roma. Should City be scared? Maybe. Right, boys, on to the Midwest region. Starting with the 1 seed Inter taking down Portsmouth 2-0. We got Athletic Bilbao over Atalanta 3-1. Juventus goes on to win 3-1 versus Shakhtar. And look at this. Another 13 seed beats a 4 seed. This one massive. FK Bodo over Atletico Madrid with a 109th minute game winner. Two 13 seeds with upset wins, both from Scandinavia. And FK Bodo has to go play Juventus next. Well, Chelsea won their playing game, but are unable to get past Galatasaray. Chelsea got lucky to even make this tournament and can't even get past the round of 64. That's just so sad. Nearly an upset for Dortmund, but they go on to win on penalties. This is just sad as well. Manchester United lose in the first round in extra time, but nothing will prepare you for what is coming next. The biggest upset so far of the tournament. Liverpool are eliminated on penalties to the Polish side, whose name I can't even pronounce. Jagiellonia? I'm hoping that I've said that right. They've just beaten Liverpool. With that round of 64 complete in the Midwest region, we have a 15 seed who has won. We have a 13 seed who have won. This is what March Madness is all about. Right, on the South region. Our final round of 64 matchups. Check this out, man. Real Madrid on penalties. They nearly got upset as well. Napoli takes down Al Nazar 2-1. The Saudi League is in shambles as well. Right, Stuttgart is going to beat Athens 3-2 on pens. We have Benfica 2-4 over Leeds United, although they had to do it in extra time. Girona ends up winning 2-1. It'll be cool to see Girona make a run in this tournament and prove that like this year isn't just a fluke for them in La Liga. All right, I don't know how this happened, but my club, FC Cincinnati, upset PSV. You guys are gonna think this is fake. This is not fake. This is real. And our final two games of the round of 64, Brighton over Fenerbahce in extra time. It is the legend Milner who wins it. And then Arsenal against the Romanian side, they will be marching on as well. We started with 68 teams. 32 teams now remain. Round of 32 is up next. Right, back over the East region, our matchups starting with Leverkusen versus Celtic, and Leverkusen winning in the 83rd minute via Florian Wirtz. Spurs versus Sporting next, and Sporting takes down Spurs. It's technically not an upset. They were the higher seed, but I was expecting Spurs to go much further. And that sets up a Leverkusen versus Sporting matchup in the Sweet 16. Right, this actually happened. Union Saint-Gilloise. They might be one of our Cinderella teams of the tournament. They take down Barcelona with a 119th minute game winner. A guy called Teklob scored it. This is the man right here, Henok Teklob. He's only valued at 500,000 euro. This is what March Madness is all about. The unknown players, the upset wins. We'll see how far they can make it. Will be tough for them though. Bayern Munich have taken down Aston Villa. So in the Sweet 16, we got a 1 seed versus a 4 seed, and we'll have the 11 seed versus the 2 seed. Moving on down to the West region. Look what we have here. In the 74th minute, Roma has taken down the #1 seed Manchester City. Not gonna lie, this makes me very, very happy. I wouldn't even say this is like that crazy of an upset win though. Roma's a very good team. Dybala scored a goal in that game. They have Lukaku. Honestly, it was just a very tough draw for Man City. They're eliminated. And the upsets have started. They're just gonna continue. Porto loses on pens to Midtjylland, which means we'll have an 8 seed versus a 13 seed in that Sweet 16 matchup. The upset started. They're not stopping. West Ham has taken out AC Milan 1-0. This West region is just wild. We almost had another one here. PSG beats Real Sociedad on pens. The matchups are set in the Sweet 16 for the West region. If you guys actually downloaded the bracket and filled it out, Let me know how you're doing. Tweet me the brackets that you filled out. I guarantee you, none of you would have had Roma versus Midtjylland in the round of 16. If you did, you're cheating. Moving on over to the Midwest region, Inter Milan beat Athletic Bilbao 2-1. And look what we have here. FK Bodo takes down Juventus 3-2 with the 118th minute game winner from a guy called Evgen. Another player we're going to have to keep an eye on the rest of this tournament. Next matchup, Galatasaray versus Dortmund. And Dortmund lose. It's Dries Mertens in the 87th minute. It's an upset win, although Galatasaray is still a very, very solid club. And then we had a Bologna against the 15th seed Polish side who upset Liverpool. Sadly, their March Madness run comes to an end. They lose 3-2. Xerxes, another game-winning goal for him. Midwest region complete. Up next, we're going to have a 1 versus 13 seed and 6 versus 7 seed. And on to the southern region, the last region where we're simulating games. Would you believe it? I feel like after all the upsets we've seen, this isn't unbelievable anymore. Real Madrid are out. A Serie A club already eliminated Man City, and now it's Napoli eliminating Real Madrid. Victor Osimhen scores a goal to send it to extra time, and then scores another goal to win the game in extra time. Up next was Benfica versus Stuttgart, and they win 5-0. That is the biggest win of the tournament so far. My club, FC Cincinnati, their run comes to an end. Girona beats them on penalties, and then Arsenal stays alive after beating Bright. Your completed South region, we will have a 9 versus 4 seed and a 6 versus 2 seed. We've gone from 68 teams down to 16 teams. The Sweet 16 is up next. We get things started with our first matchup between 1 seed Bayer Leverkusen and 4 seed Sporting in the East. No upsets for either team to get to this point. They were both favored to be here, and they'd play 90 minutes and another 30 minutes. 0-0. A penalty shootout would decide the winner. To start the shootout, both teams would go 4 for 4, converting their first 4. It came down to the 5th penalty kick taker, where for Bayer Leverkusen, Adley's penalty gets saved. And for Sporting, a chance to upset the #1 overall seed in the tournament. It came down to Paulinho, who converted, and Sporting are through, beating Bayer Leverkusen. And our very first club in the Elite 8 is Sporting. Up next, Bayern against Union Saint-Gilloise. To get here, Union had to take down Feyenoord. They had to take down Barcelona. But this would be their biggest test yet, Bayern Munich. I don't think you guys are going to be expecting what's about to happen. The first goal would come in the 33rd minute. Ball played in, crossed the box. Bayern defenders are nowhere to be found, and Union striked first. Another chance for Union right after halftime. Amora ships Manuel Neuer, the 11th seed, which no one would have predicted making it this far in the tournament. Scores what could be one of the best goals of the tournament against one of the best goalkeepers of all time. And why not? They score one more to make it 3-0. The dream run continues for Union, a 3-0 victory over Bayern Munich. They are on to play Sporting in the Elite 8. Before making this video, I've never heard of this club before in my life, and I'm sure some of you haven't either. Now we all know the name. We'll get to their Elite 8 matchup soon, but up next is Roma against Midtjylland. The Italian side just took down #1 seed Man City. Meanwhile, the 13th seed Danish side took down Leipzig and Porto, and now have a chance to advance even further. Both teams had no right being this far in the tournament, and it was Roma who would strike first with this diving header from Lukaku, and then a rebound goal to make it 1-0. A near impossible angle to score from, but the ball landed in the back of the net, and it'd be followed up by a second goal for Roma, and then a third goal from Roma. The dream run from the Danish side comes to an end, and Roma advances to the Elite 8. We move to PSG, the 2 seed against the West Ham, the 11th seed. West Ham had to win the play-in game, take down the Saudi side, take down AC Milan, and they've landed against PSG in the Sweet 16. Now, will they be able to take down Mbappe and the best French club of all time? Sadly, the answer to that is no. Mbappe scores the first and would eventually score a second. West Ham's run comes to an end, and PSG are through. Move over to the Midwest region. Inter versus FK Bodo. Another 13 seed and another side from Scandinavia. Would they be able to pull off the upset? Inter and Lautaro Martinez would strike first in the 60th minute. And it was just that one goal for Inter Milan. They're through. Sadly for Bodo, another Cinderella story comes to an end. They're eliminated. And Inter would be set to face the winner of this next match between Galatasaray and Bologna. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I'm not Italian. This match would prove to be one of the best games in the Sweet 16. It would start out with this goal from Icardi. Keeper made a save, but deflected it right back to the Argentinian striker who put the ball in. But it'd be the Italian side who'd battle back right before the end of the match to equalize. The perfect cross would send this game into extra time. We're in the 108th minute. It's Mertens who rips a shot off Icardi's head. Icardi plays it back to Mertens, who puts it in. And with that goal in extra time, Galatasaray move on, win the match. They're on to the Elite 8 to face Inter Milan. 2 matches left in the Sweet 16. First up is Napoli versus Benfica. Napoli trying to be the 3rd Italian side to make the Elite 8. And they would do just that with the help of Politano, who scores in the 40th minute. Napoli only needed 1 goal to get past Benfica, and another Italian side is through. And this was the big one. The last Sweet 16 matchup, Girona against Arsenal. Arsenal at this point, the last remaining Premier League team in the competition. In Girona, the last La Liga team remaining in the competition. They'd get the goal scoring started with this 1v1 near post goal to make it 1-0. Just after halftime, it'd be Gabriel Jesus equalizing kind of with, well, whatever this goal was right here. Listen, at the end of the day, these are just simulations on FIFA, right? This isn't realistic whatsoever, especially when goals like this are being scored. The game would go into extra time, and in the 117th minute, a chance to win for Girona, but the save by Raya. The match would go to a penalty shootout where Girona would miss 2 penalties in a row, and Arsenal beyond the Elite 8. We started with 68 teams. Only 8 remain on to the Elite 8. We begin as always in the East with the first Final Four spot up for grabs. It is Union against Sporting. Match kicked off, and it's time to see if this dream run can continue for Union. Things would not start off well for them. Sporting would grab the first goal of the game in the 75th minute, and 1 more in the dying moments of the game. That would be it for Union. Sporting goes through to the Final Four, and after eliminating Feyenoord, Barcelona, and Bayern Munich, Union are finally out. What a run it was for the Belgian side. We move on down to the 8th seed Roma versus the 2 seed PSG. Mbappe has a chance to silence the haters here if he can advance PSG to the Final Four. They got a good draw against Roma, but it would be Lukaku bullying his way through the PSG defense to make it 1-0, and Roma would answer again. Paulo Dybala, or should I say a mistake from the PSG defense. I mean, can we watch this back? Again, one of the most FIFA moments to happen in this video. It's a goal nonetheless for Roma, and they would get 1 more. Lukaku again. PSG would try to mount a comeback. They'd make it 3-1 in the second half, but that would be it. The 2 seed PSG eliminated, and Roma are through to take on Sporting in the Final Four. 2 Final Four teams are set in place. Let's find the next 2. Moving over to the Midwest region, it's Inter versus Galatasaray, the 6th seed. Inter have been cruising through this tournament, and the cruising would continue. It's Martinez to make it 1-0. It's Martinez again to make it 2-0. And it's Thurman to make it 3-0. Oh, and why not? Martinez again with a hat trick. 4-0. Galatasaray and Icardi would steal 1 back in the second half, but the comeback was too little, too late. Inter continue to be the team to beat in this tournament. They are on to the Final Four. And 1 final game remains in the Elite 8. Arsenal, the 2 seed, up against Napoli, the 9th seed. And Gabriel Jesus would open up the scoring with this goal in the 26th minute. Breaks through the defense, slots it home, and then the signature celebration, of course. But it'd be Napoli with a run from Osimhen right after, and a chip over the goalkeeper. Osimhen grabs the ball, runs it straight back to the spot, and we have a game on our hand, folks. Into the second half, we're in the 62nd minute. It is Jesus again to take the lead, 2-1. And in the 68th minute, it was Martinelli, 3-1. But this match was far from over. Victor Osimhen breaks through the Arsenal defense yet again, and Arsenal are now only up by 1 goal. Victor Osimhen, one of the players of the tournament, trying to get Napoli back into this game. That would be their final chance. Arsenal are on to the Final Four to face Inter. We started with 68 teams. We're down to just 4. And here we go. We start with Sporting and Roma. Both teams able to take down a 1 seed to get to this point. Roma beat City and Sporting took down Bayer Leverkusen. Only one would be able to make it to the final. And the match would start with a chance for Sporting and a mistake from the Roma goalkeeper. The Portuguese team goes up 1-0. He tried to come off his line and missed the ball, and Trincao taps it in. Sporting again just before halftime. Pedro with the chance and another goal. Sporting just 45 minutes away from their chance at the final. His match was close, but the second half, Sporting would pull away. A third goal, Lukaku would get one back in the second half, but Sporting would steal it right back. 4-1, the final score. Sporting are on to the final. And we move on over to the biggest match so far of the video. Inter against Arsenal. 1 seed versus 2 seed. The current top team in Italy versus the current top team in England. The winner of this game will be massive favorites going into the final against Sporting, and this would be the best game so far of the tournament by a mile. We fast forward all the way up to the 86th minute. A chance for Arsenal to win the game. It is Odegaard who misses. They win a corner though. Saka plays it to Odegaard, who crosses it in to the Brazilian Gabriel Jesus, who wins the match for Arsenal. They are on to the final against Sporting, or are they? In the dying moments of this game, one final chance for Inter and a near post goal. Inter send the match into extra time. In the second half, a chance for Arsenal and a massive save for the goalkeeper Sommer to keep things level. And after that, there was one chance remaining in this match, and it would fall to the Colombian Cuadrado, who breaks through on the counter and sends Inter Milan to the final. Arsenal had this match seemingly won. All they needed to do was drop back and defend, but now they're eliminated. We started with 68 clubs. 2 clubs remain. And here we go into the final match. Sporting had to take down Spurs to get here. Bayer Leverkusen to get here. The Cinderella team, Union. Meanwhile, for Inter, besides the Arsenal match, they've had a pretty easy path to get here. But it all comes down to this one final game to win the first ever football March Madness. We'd get things kicked off, and it was Sporting who dominated the first part of this match. The first 30 minutes, it was all Sporting, and then that's when things fell apart. The first goal in the 35th minute for Inter Milan. Sporting with a chance to equalize right before the half, but Sommer with yet another save. Right after that chance for Sporting, it was Inter and Martinez who would strike back to make it 2-0. And then in the second half, they'd strike to make it 3-0. And then in the 60th minute, 4-0. Paulinho and Sporting get one, but that would do it. The final, 4-1. Inter Milan are the first ever football March Madness champions. There it is. After all of that, 68 teams, 1 remains. Congratulations to Inter Milan. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. It took me so long to put this together, to play all of the games. So if you guys could, drop a like and subscribe if you guys are new. Please consider watching another video on my channel. It's somewhere right here. And boys, see you for the next one.